All right, ladies and gentlemen, we've got a real treat here on Sportswire Radio. We might be a little bit behind, but we've got another wrestling championship entertainment takeover here. And this is an exciting one because we're going to have a full slate here of the roster to get us ready for Blaze of Glory Day 1 and Day 2. And this guy here, I think you're going to want to pay attention to very, very closely because he's in the mix here for things here in Wrestling Championship Entertainment. And of course, he is the WCE Wild Card Golden Ticket holder. He'll explain that for our audience listening here on Sportswire Radio. So let's get right to it. So without further ado here on the Sports Report, number one global sports show, pro wrestling star here from Wrestling Championship Entertainment. That is Dash Andrews. My friend, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
We'll see how my voice is doing in a little while or so, but obviously here we are very, very excited to have you because certainly we are looking forward to getting into your story for a little while and obviously see that the showdown is about to begin. And certainly let's not dim the heat because we have a lot to get into, but we've got a little while with you. We're going to try to get through things as quick as time possible. But for those that are listening and watching this on Sportswire Radio that are hearing about Dash Andrews for the first time, talk about for you and for our audience what it means to you to be the WCE Wildcard Golden Ticket holder.
You see, being the golden ticket holder, I have my shot at either title, either the Universal Grand Slams Wisconsin Night Championship, or I can go for the Interstate Openweight Championship. I've kind of already have my mind set, but I haven't officially cashed in. But having this power is pretty great.
Well, for those that are listening and watching this, obviously we're going to hear from James Marshall. We're going to hear from Craven Rage, our two reigning defending champions here in Wrestling Championship Entertainment. But is there one wrestler that you find that you might want to wrestle, let's say, more than the other one?
Honestly, I'll wrestle anybody. It doesn't matter who they are. I'm not going to pick favorites of who I want to face. I literally want to face everybody at this point.
But you got to pick somebody, though. You can't face everybody. You got to pick somebody.
Oh, if I had to pick someone, it would definitely probably be Mr. Craven Rage. He's been on my radar for quite some time, especially since the last show when he kind of assaulted me a couple times.
He did. I did notice that, by the way, at the last show here. Certainly Spirit in the Sky and Red, White, and Bruised, the most recent shows here from our friends over at Wrestling Championship Entertainment. And why do you think that Craven did that? Craven always seems like he's literally in a rage, and you were no different.
Honestly, I think he's just kind of scared of me a little bit. He wants to. He never faced.
Why do you say he's scared of you, though?
Yeah, he's never faced me. We never really crossed paths. So, I'm rising up in WC and all this, and I guess he doesn't want to see what Dash Andrews has for him.
But when you look at Wrestling Championship Entertainment, and of course, for more information on Wrestling Championship Entertainment, you can go to WCEheat.com for more information. We've got to stack the roster as we have it all of professional wrestling. And you don't think, though, that Craven Rage wouldn't fear you at all, considering the competition who he's run through? Kodak Kid, we had him on last week, and he talked about his battles with Craven Rage, Sean Jovi, and his legendary feuds. It's a long list of people that have been in the ring with Craven, and they've fallen by the wayside. That's why he's the ruler of the yard. Are you sure that you think that he's afraid of you? You sure about that?
He hasn't really come face to face with me personally. All these, behind the sneak attacks, he's told me personally, what is it, at one of the shows to look at, Adonis Filios, tell him to look at my boy, calling me out. But he has to come and attack from behind, but he can't come, look at me face to face. I think that's someone who's kind of scared to, step in the ring with Dash Andrews.
Well, we'll certainly find out if that's a possibility for sure, as we are speaking with pro wrestling star here, Dash Andrews. And make sure you like his page on Facebook as well, also Instagram. One of the few wrestlers in WCE that has Instagram and some other social media pages. And I mean, talk about that, why you have a social media page and why it's so important, whereas some of the other wrestlers seem to be just more on the WCE side of sides with the page. I mean, so talk about social media and how it's important for you in terms of reaching out to, some of your other fans.
I actually do think, social media is really important, to connect with your fans, to, kind of show them like what you're doing, what you've been doing, help them like that personal connection. So like they can see what you're doing and they can relate that to their lives, and, it's pretty much kind of easier to like, show them what you're doing. I know Facebook, you can do that, but it's not really the same, personally to me, it's not really the same.
For sure. That's why, of course, there are other pages out there that are Instagram. And, of course, on Sportswire Radio, we do a lot on Instagram. So it's always good to see somebody else on Instagram. And I had to ask you, as we come back to the card here shortly, we've got about 10 or so minutes with you. And I want to get through everybody here in the roster. And, I mean, talk to me about being a part of WCE and what has it meant to you being a part of the Wrestling Championship Entertainment family?
Well, personally being part of WCE, I've, since last year, it just feels amazing being part of a company and, it actually has a ring. Like, personally, I just, I really appreciate being a part of WCE. It's a learning curve at this point for me of, going from ground wrestling to, actually in ring wrestling. I have some, professional wrestling training, but probably maybe a month's worth, nothing too special. But
Talk about that adjustment for you and what's that been like, because we've spoken to some of the other wrestlers and their experience certainly may vary versus yours. So talk about for you that adjustment.
I mean, the adjustment was not really that difficult because I did high school wrestling for 4 years,
Oh,
so
okay.
I kind of knew like kind of the basics. It's just the probably just getting used to like how to wrestle with the ropes and knowing your surroundings in this little area, this like squared circle that you have, and adapting to like doing like power moves and flying through the ring and all this.
Okay, well, certainly some fair points, and certainly I also want to make sure I shout out having your first official gear. And what did that mean to you earlier this year when you had your first official gear?
I mean, I was, I was just looking, and then I just found this guy, and then connected, and got my gear. Having that gear, I just felt like I needed something. Like instead of coming out there in like some black shorts and a white T-shirt that
Everybody
most
does that,
people
right?
do.
T-shirt and shorts, and it almost becomes like you just don't stand out from everybody else.
Yeah. So basically, that's why I got the gear, was to help Dash Andrews stand out a bit more.
Wanted to ask you about Vindication a few months back in May for WCE, and why did you feel that that was the best match of your career at that time?
The best match of my career. Well, let's see. Vindication. It truly felt like I haven't faced someone like JDT at all. Like he's a veteran in the ring. Um, I mean, even though like the way it ended wasn't how it should have ended. Straight up, I got destroyed. But I felt like I was taken care of, and every move that happened, I was always just like, wow, I'm doing this for real. Like, it's just one of those clicks in my head, and I'm like, I'm actually wrestling in a ring with someone who actually like knows what they're doing, and it just feels so amazing.
No question about that. And speaking of JDT, I almost have to ask you because we had on Kodak Kid last week. What's your impressions in that match on who comes away with a victory?
Oh, all right. Well, let's see. I mean, I lost. Well, there's been a lot of things going on with WCE, so it's kind of hard to tell who's actually going to win. I probably just have to go with JDT on this one because he destroyed me, and Kodak already lost to Craven, so I really think GET is gonna win. No offense to Kodak Kid, I respect Kodak Kid, even though I
Oh, he's
never
another
faced him
great
in a match.
wrestler. Another very, very interesting wrestler with a
Yeah,
lot of experience out there.
yeah. I'm just
And I want to give a shout out here to our very good friend, John Gonzalez from the Sports Authorities group, which, of course, I am a moderator for. And if you like what you hear from the Sports Authorities, I would highly encourage that you do like their page and follow it on Facebook at the Sports Authorities group, as we've got a few more minutes with pro wrestling star here, Dash Andrews. And then right afterwards, we'll have more WCE coverage because we're going to have Nicholas Crenson on here in about 5 or 6 minutes. So I'm looking forward to speaking with Nicholas Crenson. Very, very excited to have him on here. We'll get to Nicholas very shortly. But I did also want to ask you, in terms of the last match, you had Spirit in the Sky against Dark Fire, because Sean Jovi's going to be in the house in a little while. And I mean, what do you think happens there in that match before we get to some final thoughts? Because you were in the ring with Dark Fire, and we saw you have some success there.
Personally, Dark Fire, pretty great to work with, this and that. I don't really know who's gonna really, walk out between them, because I've never personally faced Sean. But I've been seeing his matches, and it's
Oh, he's got quite a career. I mean, I was even watching
yeah,
some stuff out there, and I won't say how I got it, from like 10 plus years ago. I mean, Sean Jovi is a legend when it comes to professional wrestling here in the Wisconsin area.
yeah. I do believe that I think Sean Joey's probably gonna walk away with it, just because of all of his experience that he has, like way more than Darkfire at this point. Because
Well, we'll
he
certainly
actually
find out.
traveled.
And I feel like Darkfire right now is kind of on a little bit of the non-momentum side, if you might want to put it. And Sean Jovi, we saw him here with Craven Rage, and I think he's looking to that match still coming up here. I think there's a lot in the line for Sean Jovi, and I think he wants to walk away, certainly after losing a chance to win the Rumble with Nicholas Crenson, to get his crack at another championship shot. I think that Sean Jovi desperately needs a win here for sure. And I also wanted to ask you here before I get to closing thoughts, in terms of some of the different promos you do, because you have a YouTube page. So for those that are watching and listening, promote your YouTube page and where we can find that and subscribe to it.
Oh, my YouTube page, yeah. I don't really think I have like a custom URL, but if you just go on YouTube and just search up Dash Andrews, you probably can find me and just like that.
Well, I just subscribed, so you have another subscriber there.
Yeah, usually like all my promos are promos that are already up on WCE. It's just a place,
Okay.
and some of my matches too, so to get that more publicity for myself and also WCE. So you never have too much promotion.
Hey, listen, every promotion is good promotion, I always say. So certainly, for sure, we definitely want to make sure everybody does, though, follow Dash Andrew and subscribe to his page on YouTube, Dash Andrews, for sure. And I just did that. So we'll certainly make sure we get more subscribers. But obviously, Blaze of Glory Day 1 is coming up. And while certainly I'm sure you're going to have something to say on that. And is there any closing thoughts you have on that before I get to maybe some final thoughts on a wrestler or two you might want to share, with anything you want to say about Day 1 coming up?
I mean, Day 1. Either way, I mean, Tyler Ark versus Craven Rage for the Universal Grand Slam Wisconsin Night Championship. I at this point Craven's on my radar.
No,
But,
I could see that. I could see that.
But like, Tyler Ark, I was on the Tyler Ark show. I mean, I don't know really who to cheer for. Because I don't want Craven to win, but I also
You want to take his title, though.
I want to take away his title. I want to be the one that takes it, not Tyler Ark. But then again, you got James Marshall with his championship.
Well, he's going to be in a war with Nicholas Crenson, who's going to come on here next in a couple of minutes. I mean, what do you think happens there in that war? We're going to get to something else with James Marshall, because I know that there may be some other things on his mind he may want to share.
Yeah, I mean, like, WCE is just getting heated up at this point. Like,
oh my God, WCE right now. I mean, you think about everything going on here. I mean, this company, it's like left and right. You see all the great things this company is doing. You see everything that's going on here. And of course, Dash Andrews is a huge part of things. And I want everybody, by the way, before we get to closing thoughts, follow him on Instagram at World ES.
It should be Wordless Andrews.
Wordless Andrews. I was gonna say, I was like wordless, and then it was like a whole bunch of long S's there. So on Instagram, Wordless Andrews here. Make sure you follow him because he needs more followers. He's just put up here his Instagram page. He's of course the first ever WCE golden ticket holder, which is almost kind of like Money in the Bank. Think of it like Money in the Bank, and he has got that golden ticket. Do they give you a golden ticket? Do you actually have like a golden ticket?
I have it put away right now, but I do have it.
Oh, wow, that's pretty cool. So certainly, I was with a wrestler this past week, Reynaldo, who in England was a world champion, and I'd asked him, well, champ, did you have the title with you? He's like, well, I mean, I had to leave it in England because I'm coming to New York. So, I mean, but I was just kind of curious about that. All right, so all great stuff here. Obviously, we'll definitely get you back on here for sure, maybe next week, and recap some of the things here as we get ready for Blaze of Glory Day 2. Time is flying. Listen, time is definitely flying. Today is August the 24th. So that means summer. Realistically, if you're in New York and Wisconsin, we've got another 30 to 40 days left of really nice weather. Then it's time to close the pool and get the winter coats out. So I'm a little bummed about that, but I'm certainly not bummed about WCE. So I want to give you some closing thoughts. Anything you want to say to anybody or any wrestlers? I know you kind of touched upon Craven Rage there very quickly, so I turn it over to you, and I want to give you the floor before I bring on here Nicholas Crenson shortly.
I mean, there's really not much I have left to say. I mean, you know, as they say, actions speak louder than words. But, you know, Craven Rage, you know, I'm going to keep saying your name because you're the one thing that's on my mind, like, every day. Just knowing about, you know, being from the vicious attacks. I'm not too fond of that. And, you know, I might have to show my face up in one of your matches either this upcoming part 1 or part 2. You know, this is something I just can't get enough of at this point, you know.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I think I heard a little bit about what's to come here on Sportswire Radio, and that is with Dash Andrews. He has certainly made his case here, the first ever WCE golden ticket holder, and that means he's got a very good chance here when it comes to winning or challenging a championship. We'll certainly find out. Obviously, we love everything that Dash does. Also, one more time, please make sure that you follow him on Instagram at Worldless Andrews. So make sure that you do follow him. And are you from Los Angeles, by the way? Los Angeles, California? Los Angeles, California?
No, I'm not. It's.
I was gonna say because I was looking. I was like, I had to ask. Are you out? Because you're one of the few people on the roster. I was like, well, where is he? But all right, be that as it may, maybe you are in Hollywood right now as we speak. But I can't thank you enough, my friend.
You know?
We'll definitely speak with you soon. As we were here with pro wrestling star Dash Andrews, Worldless Andrews on Instagram. So now we're gonna basically